Essentially, what you're looking for in the course of this talk is supplementing your target companies so that you're not just beholden to one dream company that you might have. Most people who get into tech, especially if they're new grads or this is the beginning of their career, they might have visions of going for FANG companies. And that would be Facebook or Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, even Microsoft. So any of those enterprise level Fortune 500 companies where we're already using their products and very much in love with what they do or know how we want to make it better. So the reason why I think you might want to consider other companies or job market gems, as it were, is because you might not always get in on your first try. What I did understand, and I think it was when I was reading Google Resume, is that sometimes not getting in on your first try is the weed out factor when it seems like everybody wants to get in. I actually went to a Python conference, PyCon, and went to the Google booth and asked everybody there on shift at that time, and only one person out of the entire trade show booth got in on their first try. At least that's what they told me. So you might need a secondary company that could get you where you want to go if you don't get in your first try. One thing that I want to get into a little bit later is that you might look at your B versus A tier companies, especially if you're not ready, not feeling ready to go after your dream company just yet. Now, the other thing that is worth considering is that you might want to broaden your horizons because the job search can be a marathon, especially in post COVID days where people are posting about 6 months to a year job search when it used to be like 3 to 6 months was the average. So, after a certain time, I often find that people start off their job search very much about um, the key things that they want. They're very locked into what they want. A couple of weeks, if not months, into the job search, they're like, whoa, okay, I want to broaden my horizons so that I have more opportunities or I can find more jobs to even apply for and get some momentum building. So that's what this talk is about, is helping you get there. So, to tell you the end from the beginning, the key to finding your job market gems, I would say, is three parts. Allow yourself to dream, map your career journey, and give yourself a chance. So, that's really the answers from the beginning, but I'm going to dig into each one. So, for those that don't already know and haven't talked to me, haven't worked with me, I am a tech career coach. I am a certified resume writer, and my specialization is on career satisfaction. Where that comes up for me in different conversations is in navigating change and helping people to do that. It's also about helping them make informed decisions about where they want to go, at least for right now, so that they can achieve whatever career satisfaction means for them. It's very much, or at least my approach to it, is very much a definition that you must come up with for it to actually feel satisfying. And so I have run the gamut in terms of helping people across different areas of tech. And it's been from entry level to senior leader level. Now, when you allow yourself to dream, I came up with this as a point to make because a lot of sessions I'm talking with people, um, especially mid-career people, it feels as though we've stopped letting ourselves dream. We immediately talk ourselves out of the things that we want to do, and we can't even entertain for 5 seconds the thing that we really want. So if you allow yourself to dream about this dream company, what is it about it that gets your attention? What kind of work do you think you're going to be doing? What's the impact? What's the culture? What is the thing that's got your fancy? Because those are the job search keywords. So you, especially if you're focused on data science, might actually be looking at the topics you want to specialize in whether it's geographic, generative AI, deep learning, whatever is the most interesting to you about your career thus far or your studies this far, those are keywords. So any job board, you can use keywords, skills, or tools to find the roles that might fit in with what you're looking for. That's key because job titles really kind of evolve, and sometimes they feel made up. Like in working with data scientists, some people were interviewing for decision scientist roles, and I think that was at Starbucks. So some of these titles you might not know enough to have searched for them outright, but if you search the keywords, those roles will pop up in your search results. This will also give you decision making criteria. So if you find that you're using these keywords and you're pulling up jobs that you're actually kind of excited about, whether or not you feel ready for them, that's how you could filter in which opportunities that you actually um, pursue, especially when you get really busy and the momentum's really going for your job search. The other thing is when it comes down to maybe you get up multiple offers or you're in the final rounds of multiple at the end of multiple hiring paths, this could help you make decisions because you know clearly what you like about your dream company. Now, all of this could also mean that you might discover that staffing firms or consultancies are the way to go. Early on in a career, it can be helpful to look at that because you might get a range of experiences and then you know better what you want to niche later on. I did reach out to somebody who's working at Nike, and I was like, hey, how'd y'all get a job at Nike? What's your ideal path or recommended path? And it turns out they lean very heavily on third party vendors or consultancies to fill roles. So, turns out your dream company might actually also go that route. Now, when you map your career journey, what I'm thinking of is because, especially post pandemic, we might not actually feel as though we could predict the future, especially 1, 5, 10 years out. So, 1 or 2 years out, where do you want to be? The more that you're clear about that, the easier it is for you to identify skills or tools gaps. So that if you get an opportunity that gets you a half step where you want to go towards your dream company, that's better than going the opposite direction, ideally. So, um, when you get these opportunities or you recognize companies that could help you even if fill in your experience gap if you're not in fact feeling ready for your dream company, that it could be a good path for you. I worked with one person who graduated from a data science boot camp, and they specifically felt very clear that they didn't feel entirely ready for data science. So their path was data analytics first. So that's how they decided they were going to get their experience. The more you know about what you need and what you're craving for this stage of your development, the more you know if you might go towards the startup realm and get hyper growth and a lot of responsibility and your hands in a lot of pies. I find startups very exhilarating. Had a bit of an addiction of that for a while. And then we have the enterprise level companies where you might have more support and the ability to be a subject matter expert in a specific item. So that's worth knowing. In fact, I worked with one web development graduate and they found that at an enterprise level, they were able to specialize on the exact color palette or style guide elements used for the brand. And that is very specific. And if that's not you, then you know you might be somewhere in the middle or leaning towards the startup side. But if you give yourself a chance, the more specific you are about what you're looking for, the easier it is to target your network. I am a glass half full kind of person, so I think people want to help, ideally. And and we're not even in the perfect world. I think people want to help, so if you give them ways to help, it will work better for you. For example, you might not necessarily say to your network, "Hey, help me find a job." Because that's a lot of work for their on their side. But if you say, I'm looking for a job and I'm targeting stuff, companies that deal with X, Y, and Z, then it's easier for them to know who to connect you with and to get that done for you. Now, when you run into different networking opportunities or you're just chit-chatting with somebody near a campus, and maybe you're in the grocery store line or whatever, and you're hearing somebody talk about the things that you're interested in, and they hit your keywords, sort of like a recruiter, you can then ask for opportunities. Hey, who can I talk to? That sounds interesting. This also gives you a chance to focus your efforts. If you can't do everything, at least you know which elements are going to get you closer, if not in the direct path for your dream company and your dream job. So, in terms of my case study, I had a couple of people who were data scientists and working towards getting a job, but they did have their dream jobs involved. One was, I'm calling it for this case study, Data Joe and Data Joan. So Data Joe actually realized he didn't feel like he was ready. So he's the one that he differentiated between his B level companies and his A level companies. And he started with his job search with the B level companies. That he felt like gave him practice in interviewing, built his confidence, helped him to build momentum until he felt ready. And then he applied to his A level company and was more confident, and it was concrete, and he ended up with an offer there. Super happy, lived happily ever after, I'm pretty sure. So, on the other hand, Data Joan actually applied to all the things. Because, when you're in a job search, it's like, oh, yeah, apply to open jobs. But what ended up happening is her application was so strong, she got her out of the gate an interview with her dream company. So nervous. So there can be a lot of pressure if you go that route. The important thing is you have to know what you prefer and what works well for you so that you know the path that you need to pursue in order to be at your best. So if you need help, join me by joining the Sacred Time membership, Career GPS. I'm using it for both supporting people through their job search, even in the post-COVID era, but also in their path towards career advancement. So if you're positioned for a promotion or been denied even once, it can be a sticky situation, but there is a method to the madness, and let's talk.